Hello guys and welcome to today's Fit Flow class. So today's class has got lots of strengthening exercises as well as some good old flexibility work. A couple of arm balances, so we're building strength in the entire body. There's a bit of a focus on the legs just because they take up so much muscle space, but hopefully it's lots of things that are familiar to you and we can work up a bit of a sweat. So we're going to start in a comfortable cross-legged seat. If you want to find yourself round, allow yourself to settle, whether or not you want to sit onto a block or a cushion, you may do so. Think of lifting your chest up and away from your hips to elongate out through the spine, soften the shoulders down away from the ears. Let your neck feel nice and long, growing tall out the crown of your head and just allowing yourself to find stillness here, to settle in. Just let your eyes close for a moment so you can focus entirely onto the breath. Allow the breath to strengthen and deepen so your inhales are fully filling the lungs and your exhales are softly and slowly emptying them. Again, breathing in, feeling that energy, feeling that lightness. And exhale to feel the softness and the calm. Trying to take a little reminder that staying connected with the breath and trying to use those two ideas of inhales for energy and for length and exhales for softness. That's something that you want to try and carry through all the different movements, all the different postures. With your next inhale, let your arms circle wide, reach your fingertips to the sky, gaze up towards them, and then exhale to fold forwards, hands onto the mat in front of you. Let your chin fall a little towards your chest so the back of the neck is long and your sit bones to stay rooted against whatever it is that you're sat on. Stay connected with that breath as you inhale, feel that extra space within your body. And as you exhale, feel the heaviness of the torso, softness into the body. Again, breathing in, keep the fingertips crawling away from you. Breathing out, start to find some activity in the hips. Push your feet down into the floor as if you were trying to rise up and away. Again, breathing in and breathing out. Great, take one more nice deep breath in. And as you breathe out, walk your hands in, allow yourself to sit up nice and tall. Interlacing your hands, turn the palms to face away from you. Press the palms forwards as you hollow out your belly, hollowing out the chest and pressing the spine out behind you. Then interlacing the hands behind your back. Take a deep breath in, pull the fist towards the mat behind you, lift through your chest, lift your chin and broaden across the front of the body. Releasing that and then staking your legs out in front of you. And I'm going to come straight into a relatively strong pose, even though it doesn't quite look like it. Knees and toes point towards the sky and flex your toes back towards you. We're trying to make an L shape with the body, so you really have to use your core to pull your rib cage up and away from your pelvis, strong through the front of the body, sitting right onto your sit bones. You can let your hands then place next to your hips and push down into your hands. So your arms are straight and strong. The toes are flexing so much so that your heels might float, but don't worry if they don't. Lifting through the body, breathing in, breathing out. Take a look at your legs and they should be working hard. You should be able to see that your quads are flexed, they are firm. Your kneecaps are lifted up towards your hips. Those toes, think about the little toes pulling back towards your body as well, so not just the big toes. Pull those little toes back and see if you can feel the difference. Keep growing longer, breathe in. Breathing out, legs are feeling it. Take one more, inhale. And then exhale, release, let those legs become soft. Just shift your bum forwards a little bit so that your knees are bent. Take your hands, fingertips pointing behind you to the back of the mat. Taking your hands behind you, leaning back towards them, and then puff your chest up towards the sky. So you're really broadening across the chest, squeezing the shoulder blades together, but keep these shoulders and this upper body, the muscles, as active as you can. So I want you to think of pushing your hands down into the floor and as if you're trying to drag your hands back towards your bum, but they're not moving anywhere. See if you can feel that activation within your upper body. Breathe into the chest. And breathing out. And then one more deep breath in. And breathing out. Now let your feet maybe step a little bit closer. It depends how far back you've taken your hands, but you want your hands and your feet to be about as far apart as your knees and your shoulders are when you're straight. You'll see why in a moment. You can always readjust if you've got it a little bit misaligned. Root down through the soles of the feet, press down through your hands, lift your bum off of the mat. Think of tucking your tailbone as you try to flatten out the top line of the body, gazing towards your knees. So the tailbone is tucked under, you are squeezing through your bum and you're thinking of your chest rising between your shoulder blades. Keep lifting, keep squeezing, breathe in and breathe out. Now from here, the only thing that's going to change is the legs. You're going to think of letting your knees fall wide as you roll to the little toe edges of your feet. Keep your bum squeezing and then roll back, plant the balls of the feet. Again, roll those knees out onto the outer edges of your feet. Pull the knees back towards one another. We're going to do 5 more. Rolling out. Rolling in for 1, rolling out. Your bum should really feel it. Keep lifting, particularly when those knees push out. Keep squeezing your bum. That's 3, last 2, last 1. Bring the knees back together, let your bum rest down to the mat, and then lower yourself down onto your forearms so that you're still slightly propped up, but a little bit less now. Float your shins away from the mat, knees to come together, and aim for about parallel with the mat if you can. If you find that this is really easy for you, you can do this exercise with straight legs instead. So keep your chest nice and lifted. We're going to start finding some movements through the legs. So start to allow your legs to pedal slightly. So allowing one leg to extend as the other leg does not. Like I say, if you want to make life harder, keep your legs straight and pedal through the legs as you do so this way. We're going to go for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let your legs come back to stationary, whether that be bent or straight. This time we're taking the feet wide away from each other. So widen the feet, back together. Widen the feet, back together. Again, you can keep the knees bent to make life a little easier for yourself here. You can choose how hard to make it. If you want to make it harder, take your feet down lower towards the floor. For 5, 4, 3, 2, last one guys, 1. Good, let yourself release down onto your back. Give your knees a hug in towards your body. Hold onto your right knee and extend your left leg away from you. Press down through the back of the thigh as you pull the knee nice and close in towards your chest. Left hand rests on the front of the left hip. You can think of pinning that side of the body down. Hold onto your right knee with your right hand and just think of sending it a little wider, as if you're bringing it out towards your right shoulder rather than your right chest. So you can feel it into the inner of that right thigh as well. Now squeeze through your right glute. Let that help that hip open. Strong through the right arm to keep drawing it in. Breathe in. And then breathing out, draw the knee back to the center, interlace your hands around the back of your thigh so that your shin is released. Flex the foot, toes towards the shin, and then press the heel towards the sky. Feel that into your hamstring. Keep the heel pushing tall as the toes pull back, and the arms are keeping the thigh nice and close in towards the belly. Breathing in, and breathing out. Good, release that leg, switch it over. Left knee hugs in, right leg extends out. You can push down with the right hand onto the right side if you like. Keep the pelvis nice and flat. Squeeze the leg close in towards the chest, and then holding the knee with just the left hand, drive the knee a little wider, but keep pulling it up as if you're aiming it towards the top left corner of your mat. And squeeze through your left glutes. Think of that slight tuck of the tailbone, and you should feel that a little bit more into your inner hip. Hold it there, breathe in. Draw it back to the center. Interlace the hands around the back of the thigh. Press the heel to the sky. Keep the toes pulling down towards the face, and not being concerned about whether or not you've straightened the leg. It doesn't need to be straight. If anything, if you can keep the leg more bent by keeping the belly closer, the thigh closer toward the belly, then you're going to get that extra feeling in the back of that left thigh. Keep pushing. Use your strength. Breathing in. And then breathing out, releasing it. Hug both knees back in towards your chest. Small little ball. I want you to round your shoulders off of the mat so that you're looking sort of towards your knees, chin towards your chest. And then we're going to start to find some momentum, rolling on the spine. And I want you to see if you can roll up into boat pose, so bouncing onto your sit bones without your feet finding the floor. Give it a couple of goes if you need to. See if you can find a point where you've found stillness. Arms reaching forwards parallel to the mat, shins parallel to the mat as well, knees pulling in towards collarbones. Let your legs stay stationary this time. Again, option to make it harder by straightening them, but don't do so at the expense of your back. Keep that tall, long spine. Start making movements with the hands up and down. You can start relatively slow and then start to let them go faster and faster. And keep that gaze forwards, keep that chest broad as your shoulder blades pin towards each other. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring your hands together in front of your chest. Keep those legs holding, it burns. We're now going to find some movement left to right. So hands are reaching to the right side, the legs turn through your chest. All the way over to the left, the chest follows the hands. Come back to the right, up and over to the left. Again for right for 5, left for 4, right for 3, left for 2, and then right for 1. Hold it there, cross your ankles, let yourself come back to a seated shape. This time I want you to move your bum a little bit further away from your feet and widen your feet away from one another, so they're towards the edges of the mat. Flex your feet, so toes towards shins, and you should be finding more of a triangle shape with your whole legs rather than the heels near the bum. Take a deep breath in, lift the arms to the sky, palms face forwards. And as you breathe out, fold over the legs again. This time again, well, it's similarly the way that we started. I want you to keep that activity in the legs. So push down into the feet as if you were trying to stand yourself up, but obviously not going anywhere. Really feel that into the outer area of your bum as your chest and torso lengthens forwards. Breathing in. Breathing out. Take one more deep breath in. And breathing out. You can either turn yourself round or hug your heels in close to your bum to roll yourself over, to come into tabletop. Give yourself some space if you need to wriggle back. Shoulders above the wrists, hips above the knees. Let's stretch out that belly that's been working hard for us. Breathing in, push the ribs down, lift through the chest. Breathing out, hollow out the front of the body, tuck the tailbone and broaden through the shoulder blades. Again, breathing in. Breathing out. Great, one more of each. Scoop down through the belly, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Breathing out to dome the back as you press the spine between the shoulder blades. Draw yourself back to neutral. Maybe just step those knees back a little bit before you bring yourself into down dog. Tuck the toes behind you, lift the hips up and back, press the thighs towards the back of the room, and if you want to give those legs a little pedal, then go ahead. Let your head hang freely so the neck is nice and loose. If you want to take a couple of nods or shakes to release any tension that you're holding there, then that can feel quite nice. A nice firm push into the hands, letting the crown of the head grow up and away from the floor. Breathe in and breathe out. Keep that left hand strong and stable against the mat. Right hand is going to reach towards the left calf, ankle or foot, depending on what's reachable for you. Pull against that leg as you look under the left armpit into your twisted down dog. Keep the thighs pressing back and the heels pushing low. The right shoulder is dropping towards the mat. Hold it there, breathe in. And then breathing out. The hand is going to come to the top of the mat. The right foot is stepping forwards, just wider than that right hand, coming into lizard lunge. Press the heel out behind you to straighten out through the back leg. Keep that chest pulling forwards. Now, strengthen into your legs. Push your feet down. Think of your thighs squeezing in towards each other. See if you can rise slightly away from the mat, but the torso is staying 45 degrees forward. So we're leaning over the front leg. Arms reach back alongside that back leg and keep your gaze down towards your big toe. Front leg taking most of our load here. Now we're going to find some movement, see how our balance is going today. Hold here, breathe in. As you breathe out, back leg steps in, knee sees if it can tap the back of the calf, back of the ankle, hands in front of chest. Step the foot back where it came from, arms alongside the body. 3 more, step it forwards, little tap of the leg, hands in front of chest. Step it back, keep the weight into this front leg. Last 2, little tap, step back. Last 1. Step it to the back of the mat. Take the hands back down to the floor, foot steps back, hips into the sky and into down dog. This time, right hand stays firm against the mat. Left hand reaches towards right ankle, taking that twist to look under the right armpit. Left shoulder is dropping low, chest is turning and the thighs stay pressing back. Breathe in. Breathe out. Great. Take that hand back to the top of the mat. The left foot steps forwards towards lizard lunge. Back leg stays straight. Push the heel backwards. Think of the thigh rising away from the mat. Chest lengthens forwards. Squeeze the front knee in towards your shoulder. Take a deep breath in. And then firm the feet down into the floor. Rise your torso just slightly away from the mat. Chest stays leaning forwards, arms reach back behind you. Load the weight into this front leg. If you're leaning forwards, you can't help but do that. Breathe in, hold. Breathing out, little step forward, little hop. See if the knee can tap the back of the calf or the ankle, hands in front of chest. Step the foot back, arms release. 3 more. Stepping forwards, little tap. Stepping back. Left leg is feeling it. Step forward, stay low into that little squatty shape. Stepping back. And then last one, coming forwards. Take that knee as low down the calf as you can. And then stepping back. Hands to the floor. Give the leg a rest as you step it back into down dog. You can pause in child's pose if you prefer. Take yourself a couple of breaths here. Lengthen out your inhale, breathing in. Lengthen out your exhale, breathing out. 1 more, breathing in. And breathing out. Rising up towards down dog if you took a little pause there. From here, walking the hands to the back of the mat. So walking yourself into a forward fold. Let the heels find the floor, press the pelvis to the sky. You can either take a floppy fold, sort of ragdoll, with slightly bent knees. If you feel a little ready for a little bit more, you can hold the back of the legs and give yourself a pull against them. Instead of thinking of pulling the body in towards the legs, think of pulling the heels off the floor to help encourage the body to stay long. Crown of the head growing down towards the floor. Breathe in. And breathe out. Now we're going to have a transition towards the top of the mat, and it'll look different for everyone, but there's a couple of different ways that you can do it. I want you to bring your feet together, so wiggle them together. Depending on your hamstring length will depend on how sort of challenging you find this, but you can keep your knees bent. Your feet are going to stay together. Hands are going onto the mat in front of us, a fair distance, but not so far. Take your hands onto the mat in front of you, just like you are going to be doing a plank. You're going to lean your weight towards your fingertips, come onto the very, very balls of your feet. See if you can come onto your tiptoes. And then your feet to step forwards, landing as softly and lightly as you can. Now, if they won't lift up, which they didn't for me for a long time, you can lean your weight forwards, load the weight into your hands as much as you can. You're pushing down, and then take that little step. So it's going to take you 6 or 7 steps to go forwards, hands placed down. Think of corkscrewing your hands into the mat. Your hands are holding jars. The right hand is going clockwise, the left hand is going anti-clockwise. Find strength through that squeeze, that turn. Lean towards the fingertips, keep leaning, keep leaning. See if the feet will just slightly hop forwards. Keep going until you get to the top of the mat. Lean, press, lift the hips. And then I've got 1 more. Lean, press, hop those feet slightly forwards. Take your hands to your shins when you're at the top of the mat. Let me give you a little moment in case you're still on the way. Chest pulls forwards, breathing in. Exhale, fold back over the legs, belly to thigh, so soften the knees as much as you need to. 1 more, deep breath in, lengthen forwards. And exhale to forward fold. On your inhale, come all the way up to stand. Arms reach up and overhead, arms alongside the ears. And then exhale, release your hands by your side. And just make sure you're relatively near the top of the mat so that you've got some room to step behind you. Take a deep breath in, reach the arms back to the sky, grow tall. Breathing out, forward fold, fingertips touch the floor, bend your knees as much as you need to. Inhale, halfway lift, chest is long, thighs press back. Exhale, hands to the floor, right foot steps to the back of the mat, drop the knee down, keep the toes tucked under. As you inhale, lift your arms up and over, lengthen through the sides of your body as you squeeze through your right glutes to drop the hips towards the mat. Now I want you to think of your front foot and your back knee being like two arms of scissors and feel like you're trying to close them back together. See if you can feel the difference that makes into your left hamstring and your front quad and hip flexor. With those arms in the sky, keep the left one in the sky. Right hand is going to wrap behind the back, shuffle up between the shoulder blades, and then those left fingertips are going to see if they can find them. If they can't, you can use a strap. If you don't have a strap, you can hold on to your own shirt or just keep reaching. Lift your chin away from your chest. Keep that scissor squeeze of the legs and the chest lifting away from the floor, from the hips. Inhale to hold. And then exhale, undo the hands. Framing the front foot, you're going to step this front foot all the way back into the sky, three-legged dog. Reach through those top toes, right heel stays heavy towards the mat. Breathing in. And breathing out, draw the left knee forward. See if you can come to tap the left elbow or get as close to it as you can. Now stay here. See if you can tap the left wrist or get as close to it as you can. See if you can tap the right wrist, twist across. Tap the right elbow. Good, then send it all the way back to the sky. Three-legged dog, breathe in. Breathing out, draw the knee back forwards, place the foot between the hands this time, keeping that back heel pressing away as you come back towards your high lunge. Inhale, lift your arms up and overhead, squeeze through that right glute, and again, find those scissor legs. Imagine they're pulling back together. You should really feel that into the front of that right hip. And this time, coming into eagle arms, I want you to take your left arm on top of your right, as if you're about to give yourself a big hug, and then wrap the arms, either palms to come to face each other, or backs of the hands to meet if you can't quite get there. Keeping yourself into this lunge. Now this is challenging because our arms are in the way of our gaze. We're going to see if we can step forwards into eagle pose, where we wrap the legs. So lean the weight forwards, just like we did a moment ago. Take that little bounce of the back foot, wrap the right thigh on top of the left. You can take the single wrap. If the double wrap is there for you, see if the toes want to hook round the calf. Breathe steady, gaze steady, maybe sit a little lower. Push your sit bones out behind you, squeeze the thighs together. Hold it, breathe in. Everything else stays the same. Unravel the legs, place the feet down next to each other. Now sink as low as you can into a narrow squat. Push your sit bones backwards, thigh and belly together. Keep it active, so try not to just sort of sit and wait for me to move on. Reach the fingertips forwards, breathe in. Unravel, reach the arms overhead, and lengthen the fingertips to the sky. Breathing out, forward fold, fingertips back to the mat, stretch out the back of those thighs. Inhale, halfway lift, body is lengthening forwards. Exhale, hands to the floor, left foot steps to the back of the mat, drop the back knee down, keep those toes tucked under. Inhale, arms rise up and overhead, let the palms come to meet, find that scissor of the legs, draw the legs towards one another. Squeezing the glutes, lifting the rib cage, right arm stays in the sky, left arm reaches to go up between the shoulder blades, and that right hand sees if it can come to find for the bind. Keep the chin lifted, use the back of the head to press against that top arm to open into the upper body. Press your feet into the mat, breathing in. And then undo. Breathing out, hands frame the front foot. That one's a tongue twister. You're going to lift the foot, send it into the sky. Three-legged dog, that's your right leg in the sky. Left heel is heavy towards the mat. Breathe in. Breathing out, knee comes to try to tap the right elbow. Get as close as you can, you're into plank, leaning forwards. Take it lower, see if you can tap the right wrist. Take it across, see if you can tap the left wrist. Take it a little higher, see if you can tap the left elbow. Breathing in, send it back to the sky, three-legged dog. Breathing out, bring it back, place it between the hands at the top of the mat. Lunge the front knee on top of the front ankle. Come to rise to stand, high lunge, arms reach to the sky, shoulder blades pinning back, squeezing through your left glutes, scissor those legs towards one another. This time, right arm on top of left for your eagle wrap. Palms to come together, think of the elbows pushing away from you and the fingertips reaching to the sky. Keeping the hips nice and low into the lunge. See how the balance is going. A little lean forwards, weight is into the front leg. See if you can draw that back left leg in. Wrap the thighs together. Option to double wrap. Trying to keep the knees and the elbows straight out in front of you. No twisting going on here. Sink a little lower. Push your sit bones backwards. Hold your belly in firm. Breathe in. Breathe out. Good, keep low in the squat, keep your arms tangled, untangle your legs, feet together, knees together, sink your sit bones low, belly and thigh come together. So it's almost a little bit like a low chair, but these eagle arms, everything is working hard. Breathing in, breathing out. Good, on your inhale, unravel the arms, rise to stand, arms go up and overhead. And then as you exhale, release your hands by your sides. Give yourself a moment of stillness to stand tall, finding that long line through the torso, tailbone slightly tucked, core stays nice and firm, and the shoulders are rolling back. From here, just make sure you've got a little bit of space out in front of you, because we're about to move, not onto the floor, just so you've not got, I don't know, a wall to headbutt. Taking your feet ever so slightly wider, take a deep breath in as you reach your arms overhead. Your right hand is going to hold your left wrist. Use your breath in to think of pulling the wrist tall to the sky. And then as you exhale, take a side bend towards the right. Use that right hand to feel like you're pulling that left wrist to really get into that side body on the left side. Use your inhale to lengthen that left side of the body. Now keep the weight as much as you can into your right foot. You're going to see if your left foot can leave the floor directly out to your left hand side. Flex the foot. Keep the body leaning. Hold your foot core firm. Breathe in. Now straighten up. Don't put the foot down. Just let it hover next to your right foot. Moving into warrior three. Let go of your own wrist. Reach your arms forwards. Chest goes forwards as you take your gaze to the floor. Reach out through your back heel. Breathe in. Come to stand. Don't put the foot down. We're standing on the right leg the whole time. Breathing out, pivot at the hips. Let that chest go forwards, gaze goes down, back heel pushes to the sky. Breathing in, standing tall, don't put the foot down. 2 more, hinge into your warrior three. You can keep a bend into the standing leg, that does not matter. Standing tall, feel those wibbles and quibbles in that right leg. Last one, let that chest go forwards, the gaze go down, reach through that back heel. Breathe in. And then breathing out, hands to the mat. Drop your back knee to the floor as we move into a half split. So shift your pelvis back, hips on top of back knee. Front toes flex towards the sky. Fingertips are here for our balance, or we could use blocks if we need to. But really, if you don't have blocks, which many of us don't, just keep your knee bent. I always do this stretch with my knee bent. It feels nicer into my hamstring and my lower back. Think of your chest lengthening forwards. And your exhales to compress the belly and the thigh together. Now this front heel, push it into the floor. Feel like you're pulling your heel back towards your body. We're going to make things a little bit firier, and it's going to force you to do exactly what I just asked you to do there. Tuck your back toes under behind you. Keep your arms nice and firm, pressing down, maybe just fingertips like I am, and then float that back knee just off of the mat. Keep a little bend in this front knee if you need to, belly and thigh together. The heel has no option now but to push down to hold you here. Lengthen the chest forwards, breathe in. Back leg might be quivering, breathe out. Take 1 more inhale. And then exhale, rock forwards onto the front foot, back foot steps in to bring you into a forward fold. Belly and thighs stay connected. You can take hold of the back of the ankles, you can take hold of the toes if you prefer, and give yourself that little extra encouragement into your fold. Breathing in and breathing out. Great, hands to your shins, inhale, halfway lift. Push those thighs back, engage through your quads. Exhale to forward fold. Inhale, rising up to stand, arms reach up and overhead. And exhale to release, making sure you're again at the top of the mat with a bit of space in front of you for those warrior threes. This time, it's going to be the left leg that we reach towards, that we stand towards. So take those arms to the sky, breathing in, grow tall. Left hand holds your right wrist. Lengthen upwards first on your inhale. On the exhale, find the side bend to begin with. Breathe into it, allow yourself just to enjoy the stretch for a moment, knowing that when we lift the leg, the stretch is likely to lessen slightly. Take the weight into the left foot. See if you can lift the right foot directly off the mat and sweep it directly out to the right side. Push away through the heel, flex back through the toes. Stay very, very firm through your core. Hold it, breathe in. And then draw yourself up tall, keep the foot floating. We're staying on the left foot the entire time. Release hold of your wrist. Pivoting forwards, chest comes forwards, gaze goes down, reach up and back through the heel. Breathing in, straighten up, keep those arms overhead, make your shoulders work too. Breathing out, a little bend in the standing leg. Allow your sit bones to push backwards as the chest pulls forwards. Breathing in, stand tall, 2 more. Hinging. Sending those fingertips way out in front of you, gaze to the floor. Standing tall. Last one, guys. Push away through that back heel. Grow longer out through your chest. I lost it. And then breathe out. Hands come to the floor. Back foot steps down. Drop to the knee as we move into our half split. Shift your pelvis back until you're roughly on top of your back knee. Flex your front toes off of the mat and keep the belly and thigh connected. Each breath in lengthens the chest forwards. Each breath out stays compressing of the torso towards the thigh. Press the heel down. Think of drawing it back towards you. Don't forget about the little toe side of your foot. Pull that back as well. Inhale. Exhale. Time to make it fierier. Keep those toes tucked under behind you. Float that back knee just off of the floor. The front heel has no choice but to push into the mat. Keep the chest forwards and long. Hold it. Inhale. Exhale. One more. See if you can float a little closer to the floor. And then exhale. Stepping forwards, back foot comes in, meets the front foot. Fold yourself over your legs. You can take either a floppy ragdoll, or if you want to give yourself that little extra pull, then go ahead. Great, releasing fingertips to your shins. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, hands to the floor, feet to step back into plank. We've got one more little burst of energy. I want you just to drop your knees down first. This is one that might just take a little bit of visual to understand. I call them plank thrusters. I'm not quite sure if that's quite the right word. Shoulders on top of wrists. You're going to rise your way into plank. I'm going to show you one first before I get you to do it. You're going to think of sinking back towards child's pose, but not child's pose. I assure you, it doesn't feel like it either. So your knees drop towards the mat. You push your bum towards your heels, but nothing rests down. And then you fire yourself back into plank. So let yourself come into plank, shoulders over the wrists, heels pushing back, tailbone is tucked, chest is trying to broaden. Push your sit bones back, get as close to your heels as you can, knees are just a tiny bit off the floor, and then fire your way back forwards into plank. Again, sinking low, push into the hands, crouching, fire your way back forwards, legs should feel it. We're going to try for 5 more, guys. Come on, it's last bit of energy. Here, bum towards heels, crouching, fire back forwards. 1. Here, bum towards heels, fire forwards. 2. Let's get them over and done with. Last 3, come on. Push forward, shoulders over wrists. Last 2, crouching low, firing forwards. I'm sure your legs can feel it the way mine can. Get yourself low and then fire back forwards. Last one, plank. This time you can drop your knees, let them go wide. Come into child's pose. Sit onto your heels, forehead to the mat. You can either leave your arms out long, or if you prefer, bring them alongside your body and allow yourself just to rest a moment. Deepen and slow the breath. Allow everything to move just a little bit slower. Great. You can then walk your hands in towards your knees. So you can come to then stack up onto your shins. We're moving into some camel variations. I don't know about you, but my body is very warm. And if you are familiar with camel and you don't tuck your toes, then do go ahead. I'm going to demonstrate it with tucked toes. So I want you to tuck your toes under behind you to lift your heels, and then tuck your tailbone, aiming to flatten out the front of the pelvis, squeezing your bum very firmly. I like to call it like ugly butt. Really pull your bum under. Hands then come to hold onto your ribs. As you breathe in, think of lifting your ribs up to the sky. Let your chest turn to face the sky. Think of going up and over as you then keep pushing your hips forwards and your chest and your shoulders to lean back. If you are comfortable to release, your hands can then come to your heels, but don't do so at the expense of your hips coming back. Keep those hips forwards. Squeeze through your glutes. Breathe into the belly, expand. Breathing out. Chin can drop back if you're comfortable to do so. 2 more breaths. Last one. Good. Hands then come to your waist. Use a strong breath in, strong core to rise yourself back up to straight. Untuck the toes. Sit to the heels and just give yourself a moment. Maybe let's let your chin fall to your chest. Making sure that everything has come back. You're not seeing stars, which is very common when you've been holding a back bend. Nice deep breath in and a deep breath out. You can then swing your feet round so that you're sat onto your bum. Have some space onto the mat behind you. Feet onto the floor, arms to reach alongside you, and as slowly as possible, I want you to unravel down towards the mat, but pause when your shoulder blades have yet to find the floor. So the lower back is solidified down against the mat, the arms are still reaching forwards, and the shoulders are rounding as I look towards the top of the mat. From there, step your feet a little closer in towards your bum, let your feet float then away from the floor. Knees can be either on top of hips, you can make life harder by moving them away. Hollow body. So think of your body making a bit of a dish shape, even though that might not be what it looks like. Push your lower back down. Reach those arms forwards, breathe in. And then hug your knees in towards your chest as you let the shoulders come back down and make yourself into a small ball. Maybe it feels nice just to allow yourself a soft little rock from left to right. Your feet can then go back to find the floor, taking your feet about as wide as your hips, maybe even a little bit wider, that might be more comfortable, moving ourselves into bridge. Press down through the soles of the feet, lift your hips off of the mat, think of your hips going up as well as towards your head, and then shuffle your shoulder blades together underneath you so you can interlace your hands, and with that you should be able to find perhaps just that little bit more lift, thinking of sending your chest towards your chin. So we're pushing down through the whole sole of the foot. Keep your heels down and keep the big toe side of your feet down. Think of your bum, again, squeezing, ugly butt, as your knees drive slightly away from one another. Keep that lift through your hips. Breathe in and breathe out. Now, let your hips just dip slightly, so you're easing out of the effort there, and let your feet wiggle a little closer together. You're going to curl your left knee in towards your chest, and as you breathe in, push your hips back to the sky, drive the pelvis up, drive the chest towards the chin. Let the hips drop just slightly down towards the hands, and again push into that foot, drive the hips to the sky and squeeze through your right glutes. One more, drop towards the hands, but obviously not all the way, and then push, lift the hips and place that left foot down. Keep your hips lifted. My hands come apart a little bit when they're sweaty. I want you to drop the hips down towards your hands, Right knee pulls in towards your chest. Push down through that left foot, drive the hips to the sky, squeeze your bum at the top. Slowly lower to just above your hands, and then drive the hips back up. One more, slowly lower it towards the hands, push into that foot, squeeze your bum at the top, feel the effort, and then place 2 feet to the mat. Undo your hands. Let your bum come back to the floor. Give those legs a nice little squeeze in. Your knees can then go wide out towards the armpits. Let your hands widen the knees. You start to feel it into your inner thighs to begin with. Then send the soles of the feet to the sky to come to hold on to the ankles or the toes or the heels. As you move into happy baby, keep encouraging the knees wide. Maybe using just the strength of your hips or your elbows might be able to push your legs wider. Breathing in. Breathing out, stay strong in the arms to draw the knees down towards the armpits. Don't allow your bum to do a backwards roll. Get your lower back back on the floor. Get the underside of the pelvis onto the floor. Keep those toes widening, or keep the feet widening away from one another. Slow the breath down, breathing in. Breathing out. Again, breathe in and breathe out. Letting go of your feet. Hug your knees in towards your chest again. Small little ball. And then let the knees fall over to the right side of the mat. Left arm reaches out in the opposite direction. Palm to face the sky, gazing towards that hand. The right hand can pin the legs down on the other side if you wish. Or just allow the arm to stay free as you allow the breath to move a little slower, a little more softly. And then rolling back onto your back. Let the legs go in the other direction. The right arm reaches out, palm to the sky. Heavy legs onto the left, heavy arm onto the right. Send those deep breaths right down into the belly. And slowly allow them back out. And then rolling back onto your back. Stepping your feet back onto the floor, releasing the legs one at a time out onto the mat, the arms to do the same, to give yourself just these last couple of moments to completely let the body relax, let go, slow back down. Feeling that energy buzzing around your body. And just allow that feeling of calm to start to take over. Just leaving you with that positive, energized feeling, but a nice little relaxed layer over the top. You can then take a deep breath in as you reach your arms overhead and point your toes, full body stretch. And then the knees can hug in towards the body to give yourself a soft little squeeze. Gently allowing yourself to roll up to seated. Sitting yourself nice and tall. Your final breath in can circle the arms wide into the sky. And then your breath out to lower the hands down towards the belly as the chin comes down towards the chest. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed the effort of that one and feeling it in all the right places. I'm sure if my legs are burning as I'm going through it, I'm sure I'm not the only one. So I'd love to hear what you thought in the comments just beside the video.